The minute that this tragic incident happened today, Governor Kemp has been with me and been talking to me and several times and has been on our side and law enforcement side, and I wanted to introduce him to make a few statements. Again, thank you for your patience, and at this time I'm going to introduce the governor, and then Director Hosey will take answers and questions after that.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. I just want to thank you and your team for the incredible work that they've done. The response of our first responders today has been unreal. Superintendent LaDuff, Principal Leroy, who just did an incredible job with these kids. This hits home for us. Being from Athens, just down the road, Marty and I, having a daughter that taught first grade just a few years ago, this is everybody's worst nightmare. And I just want to offer my sincere condolences and our thoughts and prayers to the families that have lost loved ones, for those that are injured and continuing to fight through just a tragic time for really this whole community that's been affected by today's actions. And I just cannot thank the first responders enough. I cannot thank Director Hosey, Colonel Hitchens, Director Stallings at GEMA, the whole state response. I want to thank Special Agent Farley and her team from the FBI that are embedded with us in the school as we speak, running down every single lead and other things that Director Hosey will mention tonight. You know, I represented Bexar County when I was in the state Senate 20 years ago. These are our neighbors, these are our friends, and this community is hurting today. And I would just ask all Georgians and all Americans to continue to keep these families, these educators, and these students in your thoughts and prayers. And we will provide every state resource that is needed from here until they're not, to support this community and support this team behind me.
Hi, and welcome back to Nikki Scoops. Today, I will be briefly going over details of the Apalachee High School shooting. Colt Gray, a 14-year-old student of Apalachee High School, would carry out a horrific massacre on September 4th, claiming the lives of 4 and injuring several others. 2 students and 2 teachers will be killed. 9 others consist of 8 students, and 1 teacher would be wounded and hospitalized. An AR-15 style rifle was used in the shooting. There's no concrete reasoning on why Colt decided to do the unthinkable that day. His father stated at one point his son was getting picked on at school, with other students pinching him and touching him. Just ridiculed him day after day after day. Not sure if that's the main reasoning of this horrific act.
Horror in Winder, Georgia, after officials say a suspected shooter opened fire in Apalachee High School.
There's a 14-year-old student here at the high school. Again, he has been taken into custody. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult.
This video capturing terrifying moments after gunfire rang out. Police say deputies and emergency medical personnel rushed to the high school at about 10:23 a.m. in response to an active shooting. The school put on lockdown.
It was just like a loud boom.
Authorities say the gunfire left 4 dead, 2 teachers and 2 students, and 9 injured.
Our school resource officer engaged him, and the shooter quickly realized that if he did not give up, that it would end with an OIS, or an officer-involved shooting. He gave up, got on the ground, and the deputy took him into custody.
Golf coach David Phoenix was shot twice and is alive, according to his daughter, who posted on Facebook that he's in stable condition.
My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community, but I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county. Love will prevail over what happened today.
Students returned back to school in August, sophomores describing the terrifying moments.
I didn't know what was going to happen because you could hear the gunfires right down the hall. So I was shaking, scared.
I thought I was going to die.
Student Itzel Navarrete says she was shaken up and scared.
How does it feel that this happened at your high school?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked something like this could happen here.
Panicked parents rushed to the school, later reuniting with their children at the football field.
My daughter called me at work, screaming that there was a shooter at Apalachee.
President Biden briefed today, writing, "Jill and I are mourning the deaths of those whose lives were cut short due to more senseless gun violence." Former President Trump posting, "These cherished children were taken from us far too soon by a sick and deranged monster." At a rally in New Hampshire, Vice President Harris remarking,
"It's senseless. It is. We've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all."
And Priya, have investigators reached out to the suspect's family yet?
That's right, Lester. Authorities have spoken to the suspect's family, but they say the investigation is ongoing. School here is closed for the rest of the week. The community is gathering tonight for a vigil to mourn the victims. Lester?
All right, Priya Sridhar, thank you.
I never imagined that I would be speaking to the media in my career over something that happened today, the pure evil that happened today. I cannot thank the people behind me for the support they give me today, to give this office and give this staff. This hits home for me. I was born and raised here. I went to school in this school system. My kids go to this school system. I'm proud of this school system. My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community. But I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail in this county. I want that to be very clear and known. Love will prevail over what happened today. I assure you of that. It is very early as to what happened. Governor Kemp reached out to me and has provided me every single resource that he has to make sure justice prevails. I don't know why it happened. I may not ever know. We may not ever know. But I ask that you and our community lift up our schools, lift up our public safety, and that, again, we do not let this hateful event prevail as to what happened today. I want to thank the surrounding agencies and counties and cities and state and federal authorities that have come and provided us, because they prevented a lot of more tragic events from happening. Continue to lift up these families, continue to lift up our students and our kids, and know that love will prevail.
No one deserves to die by the hands of another in any type of circumstance. These 4 innocent souls that lost their lives on September 4th should still be with us to this day. It's unfortunate that we are continuing to ignore the warning signs of our children. Not sure if Colt was experiencing instability in his personal life at home with his family, or if he was really being bullied, as his father stated in a previous interview. This is soon to be discovered. However, we need to continue to pray for all those that were and are affected in this senseless tragedy.
I'm joined now by Cameron Leroy, a sophomore at Apalachee High School. Cameron, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
I know you were actually in a classroom close to the hallway where the shooting happened. You were taught by one of the teachers who was killed. How are you doing this morning? What have the last 24 hours been like?
Honestly, when it first had happened and I was safe at home after the whole situation occurred, I was still in a state of shock. So it didn't really settle in and hit me until later last night. I noticed that the people that were killed and the people that were wounded, I could possibly never see again, especially my geometry teacher, Mr. Aspinwall. He's a really nice person, and may he rest in peace.
What else should we know about Mr. Aspinwall?
He was a football coach. He had 2 kids and a wife, and his wife was pregnant. And it's just really sad to see him go. And he was taken from us way too early.
Did you know any of the two students, Christian and Mason, at all?
I did not know any of them, but my prayers go out to their families.
Absolutely. I know you heard those gunshots. When you heard them, what went through your mind at first? Did you know what was happening, or did you think it was possibly some other noise?
Some other noise, honestly. But then when it wouldn't stop, I started getting concerned. And when my teacher looked out the window towards getting in the corner, I kind of knew that it was a shooting. So from there, I was just praying to God to keep me safe and all my friends. I was just praying that I made it out of there alive. And I know that some people did not.
In that moment, what did you and the other students do inside that classroom? What did your teacher do in response?
So my teacher, he told us to get in the corner and get down and stay quiet. And then he locked the doors, turned the lights off, and put the big black board. It's like a smart board that you like, it's a touch screen. He put that in front of the board because it's the heaviest thing in the classroom. Just like as like an extra layer of protection, because we don't have like a closet of some sort in that room. So that's really what we did. And then we stayed quiet. And we were in that room for like 30 minutes until they evacuated us. And we continued to hear like screaming from the police. And really just like, it was this very haunting moment for everyone.
What was the moment like when you were finally able to reunite with your family?
Honestly, I was just glad that I wasn't one of the 4 killed. And I'm glad I wasn't one of the 9 wounded. And I'm sure my mom was really happy to know that I was safe and I was okay.
No doubt she was relieved to see that you were okay. The suspect, the young gunman, only 14 years old. Do you know him at all? Do you know anything about him?
I do not know anything about him or who he is. I've never heard of him from the school, at the school. All I'm saying is that what he did was the same.
You know, my generation, we grew up with fire drills. Your generation has grown up with active shooter drills in school. When you went through that training, did you ever actually think that you would have to put it to use in real life?
No, never, ever. And then when it happened, you know, we were prepared, but it's just nothing you're going to expect from like a normal day of school. You think you're going to go to school for 7 hours, learn, come home to your family. Some people didn't even make it out of that school, and it's just really sad.
Cameron, we're glad that you are okay. We are thinking of your entire community right now. Thank you so much for taking a few moments to join us this morning.
With us now, Ariel Bowling, a sophomore at Apalachee High. She was inside that building when the shooting unfolded. She's joining us along with her mother, Tabitha, this morning. Good morning to both of you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Ariel, let me just ask how you're doing this morning after everything you've been through and everything you witnessed. How are you doing?
I'm trying to hold up myself. Just still like really in shock of like processing everything that happened yesterday, and it's just like a lot.
Yeah, it had to be completely terrifying. Will you tell us where you were? I understand that you were actually leaving a nearby classroom to go with a friend to a vending machine. What happened?
Yes, ma'am. So me and my friend were going to the vending machine, and we had like gotten like halfway out of the room, and there's like a brick wall, so like you can't really see who's like out in the hall. And then we heard shots fired, and we ran back into the room, and we just all piled up on top of each other in the corner.
You must have been absolutely terrified in those moments. What was going through your mind? And when you were finally got the message that it was all clear and you walked out, what did you see?
I saw a deceased body on the floor, but it was like covered up, and I saw a female with a shot wound to her leg, and it was just like really traumatic experience.
Tabitha, I'm looking at you and I'm thinking what you must be thinking and feeling. First of all, to understand that there's a shooting going on at your daughter's school, how did you learn the news? And just tell us what you did.
I was at work, and Ariel called me on the phone and told me, Mom, there's a active shooting at school. And I told her, it's nothing to play about. Is this serious? And she said, Mom, it's serious. It's really going on. I told her to just run in the classroom and hide in the corner, just be quiet and just do whatever they tell her to do. And at that time, I heard 5 gunshots, and then the phone went dead. So I didn't know if she was hurt, and she was calling 911. So I was very scared.
It's unfathomable, no matter how many times we've seen this unfold when it happens to you. And Ariel, one of the teachers who was killed yesterday is a teacher you had. He was your math teacher. What do you remember about him?
Yes.
What would you want people to know about him?
I would just want people to know that he was a really kind-hearted man, and he would really push you, and he was just really hardworking, and he just had the most kindest soul ever.
Ariel, you guys have gone through drills like a lot of schools do just in case of a school shooter, and you probably never really imagined that something like that would happen. I mean, as you woke up this morning, what were you thinking about the state of how we live now? What reality is actually like for kids like you?
I just feel like you're basically never safe anywhere, and no matter how you can no matter if there's cops in the school, there's still no safety at all.
Tabitha, you just heard your daughter say, with no matter what, whether they're police resource officers armed in schools, you're not safe anyway. How does that sit with you?
That's very traumatic for me, because now how can I ever get her to go to school? She told me she's never coming back here. I just don't know what to do. It's scary, and I'm thankful that she did have her phone so that I could know that she was in this situation, but I don't like that she hung up on me, but I do like what she did do to help everyone else.
Ariel, you were thinking of others right there in that very moment. That must have been so terrifying for you. Thank you for being with us. We're so sorry for what you've had to go through, and our hearts are with you in these days ahead. So, no matter how many times we do conversations like that, it's just so hard. I mean, to say nothing of the people who lost their lives, just how lives are changed in an instant.
And to think about how she's saying she doesn't want to go back to school, and no matter how many police officers were there, she still doesn't feel safe. I mean, something needs to be done.
Father, for all who are gathered in this place, I pray that you bless each and every person in each and every family. And we pray them into this space, now and forevermore. Be with us, bless us, and walk with us each day as we go forward. Amen.
And it's always been like a big family for us. I've seen a lot of people here that showed up for Apalachee even though they went to Winder Barrow. But yeah, I'd say we're pretty supportive of everybody, especially in a time like this. I feel like it's just a very healing thing for a lot of people being here and just be around people from the community.
Still kind of in a state of shock. You hear about this kind of stuff, but you never think it's gonna happen to you until it's happening. And then once you're in that, it's this is really happening. It's a surreal experience. It's,
As the sheriff mentioned earlier this morning, the shooter is in custody. He is a 14-year-old student here at the high school. He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult. Within minutes, law enforcement was on scene, as well as 2 school resource officers assigned here to the school who immediately encountered the subject within just minutes of this report going out. Once they encountered the subject immediately surrendered to these officers, and he was taken into custody. Additionally, what I want you to know as of now, there are 4 individuals who are deceased from this incident, 9 that have been taken to local hospitals with various injuries. Of those that are deceased, 2 are students and 2 are teachers here at the school.
Overnight, the city of Winder, Georgia, in mourning. The scene of terror unfolding Wednesday at Apalachee High School, where a shooter left 4 victims dead.
Still kind of in like a state of shock.
And now more information emerging about past encounters with law enforcement and the suspect in custody, 14-year-old Colt Gray. In a statement, the FBI says it received several anonymous tips about an online threat to commit a school shooting last year.
The Jackson County Sheriff's Office identified and located Gray, who is our suspect in this case. They conducted an investigation at that time, and there was no probable cause for arrest or to take any additional law enforcement action.
The FBI saying that at the time, the suspect's father was interviewed and said he had hunting guns in the house, but the subject did not have unsupervised access to them. Police say Gray, who's a student at the school, used an AR platform-style weapon. In Georgia, according to the Giffords Law Center, there are no minimum age laws restricting people under 18 from possessing rifles or shotguns, though federal law is stricter. According to authorities, the teen will be charged with murder and tried as an adult. The community still reeling from the traumatic morning at the school. Evacuated students sent to the school's football field.
Pray for these kids.
Where terrified parents desperately searched for their children.
This is a parent's worst nightmare.
The victims, including 2 14-year-old students, Mason Schermerhorn and Christian Angulo. Schermerhorn's sister saying in a now-deleted post that he was autistic, later writing he did not make it out of school alive. Also killed 2 math teachers, 53-year-old Christina Irami and 39-year-old Richard Aspinwall, who was also a football coach. 8 students and a teacher were injured. The local sheriff, emotional.
My heart hurts for these kids. My heart hurts for our community. But I want to make it very clear that hate will not prevail.
And according to the K-12 school shooting database, there have been 218 school shootings just this year. President Biden calling for gun safety legislation, saying in a statement, "We cannot continue to accept this as normal."
The father of the 14-year-old Apalachee High School shooting suspect faces 2 counts of second-degree murder in connection with last week's Georgia attack that left 4 dead, charges that push the legal limits of parental responsibility for a child's alleged gun crime. The case against Colt Gray, 54, marks just the 2nd time in America a parent has been charged in connection with a mass shooting by a minor. Former federal prosecutor Jeffrey Toobin said, "The charges, including 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter and 8 counts of cruelty to children, with more possible, are the most severe ever filed against an alleged school shooter's parent. In an unprecedented move, Colt Gray, 54, was hit with murder charges when authorities learned he bought his 14-year-old the AR-15 style gun used in the tragedy as a Christmas present. After allegedly taking the lives of 4 innocent people and injuring many others during a shooting rampage at Apalachee High School in Georgia, according to former federal prosecutor Niyama Ramani, it's unlikely Colin will have as harsh punishment as Colt's."
In Georgia, the first court appearances today for the 14-year-old and his father charged in this week's deadly high school shooting. Priya Schrader is there. Priya, what happened in court today?
That's right, Lester. Neither father nor son entered a plea in court today, but the district attorney did say there could be even more charges to come for the suspected shooter.
Tonight, the 14-year-old charged in the deadly shooting at Apalachee High School, shackled with hair covering his face in his first court appearance.
You're charged with 4 counts of felony murder.
Family members of victims sitting in the first row. Soon after, his father, Colt Gray, appeared in the same courtroom.
Are you Mr. Colt Gray?
He's facing involuntary manslaughter and second-degree murder charges in connection with the shooting.
These charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon.
Two law enforcement sources familiar with the investigation tell NBC News that Colt Gray gave his son an AR-15 style rifle as a gift after they were interviewed by authorities last year, following several anonymous tips that Colt made threats online.
I don't know anything about him saying like that, and I'm going to be mad as hell if he did. And then all the guns will go away, and they won't be accessible to him.
He said he was shocked by the suggestion his son was making threats.
Like, it's no joke.
But we wouldn't be here if it was.
No, I know. And I'm telling you right now, we talk about it quite a bit. Okay. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah,
scary. Are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
Court records suggest the suspect had a turbulent home life. Last year, his mother, Marcy, pleaded guilty to a family violence charge, and according to an arrest warrant, fentanyl was found in her car. But tonight, this community is focused on remembering the 4 lives lost. Students Christian Angulo and Mason Schermerhorn, and math teachers Christina Irami and Richard Aspinwall, known to many as Coach A.
He saw something in me, and he just never let it go, ever.
His former player, Quentin Hyde, says he became a coach because of him.
Just knowing that impact he had on me, I want to have that impact on somebody.
Priya Sridhar, NBC News, Winder, Georgia.
Christina Irimi, 53, loved teaching. Her personality was vibrant and she enjoyed telling cheesy jokes, laughing with her friends and students. Everyone that she touched will remember her infectious smile, laughter, and her passion for teaching. The day of the shooting, Irimi decided to bake a cake and bring pizza to her class to celebrate her birthday with her kids, a friend of hers stated. Richard Aspinwall, 39, was described as sweet and kind guy. He was known to push his students to ensure they become efficient and proactive in class. He was a very good guy, stated one of his students. He really enjoyed teaching and helping his students meet their maximum goal. Aspinwall moved to Apalachee High School about 2 years ago with his wife and 2 daughters. He loved being a girl's dad. His wife stated, "I want to thank the community and let everyone know how amazing my husband was. Ricky was so devoted to his school family, he died being a hero to save as many lives as he could." Mason Schermerhorn, 14, remembered by friends and family as a loving soul and a creative kid. A family friend described Mason as a sweet, loving soul with a contagious smile and will be truly missed. Mason was also known as a kid with a good sense of humor, creative, loved playing video games, funny, and loved giving out big hugs, said a family friend and his sister Alana. Christian Angelo, 14, described as a good kid, very sweet and caring by his older sister. Lisette, a spokesperson at the vigil, stated, "He was such a kind and funny kid. He loved playing computer video games with his friends. He loved playing soccer. Christian had such a caring heart." His mom stated, "They took his whole life, his future, and his time with us. I miss him. I wish it was a dream.